to your side. Seek him though your eyes don't see. Seek him though your eyes don't see. The Master's calling. The Master's calling. Praise him while your lips still sing. Ooh, praise him while your lips still sing. The Master's calling.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 980 AM WDDO Perry Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Right trouble.
Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine, where to ask Elaine. Ask Elaine.
Good afternoon, Ask Elaine.
Hello,
Good afternoon, Ask Elaine.
this is Jack Ellis. Elaine, how are you? Hello.
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 How are
Hi.
you?
I am doing just fine. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah,
and
Happy
all
New
of
Year,
those
Happy Merry
listeners.
Christmas, everything.
Yes.
Y'all,
And-
this
and-
is our only mayor, former mayor, C. Jack Ellis, and he is calling us all the way. Where in Africa are you, Mayor?
I'm in Uganda, in East Africa, right at the equator down on Lake Victoria. That's where I am in the town of Entebbe right now.
Oh,
Yes,
my.
you heard the movie Raid on Entebbe. Yes.
Well, yeah. Well, it looks like you're not
Yeah.
going to make it back to Macon,
Hey,
Georgia.
look,
It's been a
I-
long
I-
time since we've seen you.
Well, I miss Macon immensely, miss my family, miss people. But I tell you, Elaine, I left right after the election for two reasons. As you know, I have an 18, soon to be 19-year-old son who goes the century as a senior, and he studies. He wanted to go in person, and he does better in person, he told me. And I have a 25-year-old nephew who studies at Mercer, who lives
Oh.
with me. And with them going out every day and coming back, I thought I would be safe to get away from those two young people. I was approaching my 75th birthday, and I turned
Oh,
75.
yeah.
Turned 75 2 weeks ago, so I celebrated my
Well,
75th
happy
birthday.
belated birthday.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. But let me say this, Elaine. On May, like I said, it's midnight, not midnight, 11 p.m. here. We're 8 hours in front of you, if you will. But I want to say my condolences to the 50 plus families that lost their life this past year in Macon as a result of violence.
Yeah.
And also the ones who lost their lives to COVID. And I heard you, one thing about technology, I was watching you on YouTube. Ron Wildman interviewed you on my old show, the Middle Georgia Spotlight.
Yeah.
And I heard you talk about how COVID has been ravaging our city. So to all the people that lost their lives, I'm sure it's more than 50 plus that we lost to gunfire. I'd like to my condolences to their families as well. I just hope that everyone will stay safe. I know that you and your great husband, late, not the late, the great, I
No,
should say. Excuse
not
my,
late.
oh my God, that's not the great, I should say. You know, sometimes I say the late great or the great, but the great Senator David Lucas has recovered. I heard you speak on that, and I was so thrilled and happy to hear that both of you are doing well and back on the case. And I want to say two things about policy issues. Of course, I left, like I said, the day after the election, as I told Clifford I was working hard for him, and I would leave after the runoff, and I did. But I was listening to and reading about this jail situation. And I don't know what your opinion, and I'm not asking your opinion. If you care to share it, fine, because you have a show here to run. But I'm appalled that we don't want to discuss something so important as criminal justice reform in our city in public. Criminal justice reform in Macon and Bibb County right now starts on the floor of the Bibb County Jail, period. That's where criminal justice is in Macon, Georgia. That's where criminal justice reform starts, at the safety of each and every inmate, because they still have their humanity. They're in our custody. We're responsible, and we're responsible for their safety. Now, if we don't have enough room, we need to make some other adjustments to spread them out in other surrounding jails or someplace, as we've done before. We used to put our inmates, if you remember, Commissioner Lucas, when we were in office and we had our own city jail, we were putting inmates even sometimes in Forsyth, and because it was cheaper for us to put them in Forsyth than in the Bibb County jail. I think it was $50-some a day. So what I'm saying is that we can find a place for people, regardless of what they have done. They still have their humanity, and they should not have to sleep on a floor and in crowded conditions, especially at this time with COVID being what it is. And I don't see anything with that could not and should not be discussed in public, and it should be open for public review.
Yeah,
and
well, Mayor,
that,
that topic was discussed in public. It was not discussed privately. I was in the executive session, and we did not discuss it. It was discussed all out in the open. And the sheriff has said one of the things, and I think you talked about it when you were mayor, and that is, it may be time for a new jail. You hate the idea of a new jail because you know who it's for. I wish we would realize who these jails are built for, who's the raw material that keeps these jails operating and prospering. Even private jails are opening up and prospering because there are so many of our young black men and young black women who are populating these jails. But I remember you talking about there might be a need because the jail is 40 years old. And the way things were built 40 years ago is a lot different than the way that they're built. Even correctional facilities are built now. And so maybe that's a discussion we need to have while we're talking seriously about the justice system and correctional reform and all of that, and the lack of space in the jail. Maybe this is a topic we need to be talking about.
I think we ought to. And furthermore, what we tried to do is move the jail because it was in a strategic location. It's located in the center of our city between two of our major economic engines, Mercer University and the medical center and our downtown. And it fits there, and it impedes progress and development in that area. No one wants to live near a jail. So we're not going to build any houses around the jail. And so I'm glad that was in public. But one other thing I would say, and I commend them from doing it and for doing it, and that is the Brookdale School. But by the same token, here it was 3 years ago. I stood on the corner of Third and
certainly did.
whatever it is, Second, and said to Rickard at that time when he chased those homeless people out of Central City Park, he was the Grinch, was stealing Christmas, and that we should open that Third Power School and get it ready for the homeless so they could be there and get out of the cold. And that out of Grinch. And now we wait until a person dies, and now we open up the center. You know. So I'm glad they did it, but why did they have to wait until a person lost their lives in order?
You're absolutely right, and I think it's to the credit of the present administration who took action on that situation. And you know, a lot of times people will say, well, they're just doing it for this, they're just doing it for that. I don't care why they're doing it. It's a good thing. It's being done. And we don't need a repeat of 2 people freezing to death. Not in the United States, not in Georgia, not in Macon. We just don't need those kinds of things. There's no need for anybody to be hungry in this country. And so I think with what are your feelings about the new administration in Washington?
I'm so excited. I looked from here and looked at the international media, and I was so excited. And congratulations to you. You know, people talk about Stacey Abrams, and we ought to. But Elaine Luke has been doing voter registration before Stacey Abrams was in the state of Georgia. And I know how long you've been doing voter registration.
Yeah, we have a lot of folks in Macon.
And that template could have been replicated throughout the state of Georgia, what you all, what you've done over the years in registering people to vote. So my point is take as much credit for Warnock and Oslock getting in office as any other person, especially any other female or male in the state of Georgia, especially in Middle Georgia.
Well, you're very kind. You're very kind, but I am just so thrilled that Black voters are making the difference, and I hope to never ever hear again my vote doesn't count, because I've heard it so much over the years. It just makes me ill when I hear people say that my vote won't count. They're going to do what they want to do anyway. You're absolutely right. They're going to do what they want to do if you don't vote. But I don't care who else is not voting. I am going to exercise my right to vote. And when you don't use something, then you end up losing it. Somebody takes it away from you, and these legislatures are working night and day to curtail absentee voting, to work on redistricting, all of these things. We ought to be fighting just as hard against that kind of stuff as we would fight against anything else that's wrong. These people are serious.
So that's the fight. Lucas. The fight between now and 2022 is reapportionment. And gerrymandering, to make sure they don't get gerrymandered. We can control this state, Democrats, with African Americans in the lead. Can control this state if we get a fair map. If we get fair map, the state level, the county level, and every place else. And in terms of no one knows how to draw maps better than Senator David Duke.
Oh, he's an expert.
If we get fair maps drawn, we can not only control Washington State Senate, the Senate, we control the state Senate in Georgia again.
That's right.
And the House in 2022, if we get the right. But I wanted to thank you very much for allowing me to come on and share and say hi to the people back in Macon. I was involved in a campaign here as well. We just got through the presidential campaign, and I was involved in two.
Somehow I knew you'd be involved in some politics. Wherever you are, you would be involved.
One of my candidates won, a female member of parliament, and one of my candidates lost, a male member running for parliament. So I'm batting fifth better than
Yes, you are.
500%.
Yeah,
So we did.
yeah.
But anyway, I'm trying to get back as soon as I can. Now they're talking about a 10-day quarantine. I said, well, where am I going to quarantine when I get back? I have my son and my nephew living with me, and they're going out and back and in and out
Yeah.
every day, going to school as they have to. So I guess I have to rent me a room someplace in a hotel and
Well,
put up
it
the 10
looks
days.
that way. It looks that way. Well, we look
Yeah.
forward to having you back here. And I am just so honored that you would want to call into the show and remind us that you're still concerned, that you're still working on our behalf, that even away on another continent, you are still thinking of Macon, Georgia. And so you will forever be our hero, our first and only black mayor. And just like Barack Obama will forever be
Oh, you're
the
kind.
president, you will forever be the mayor. So thank you so very much. You have honored
Thank you.
me and the people of Macon for your call today.
Well, thank you so much. It was great, and have a great year. And I hope to see you next month. Doing Black History Month. If
Yes.
not, I know you have a lot of great things.
Yes.
I heard on the air. You said everything you had lined up for the MLK Commission doing Black History Month.
Right.
Congratulations on that, and keep hope alive. As they say.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayor.
The struggle continues.
It
Okay,
does.
take
It
care.
does. Bye.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, that was wonderful. That was wonderful. Our mayor, the Honorable C. Jack Ellis, calling from Africa. Good afternoon, Ask Elaine.
Good afternoon, Commissioner Lucas. This is Myrtle Haversham.
Myrtle Habersham, how are you?
I am fine. How are you and family doing?
Just great, just great. Today is a wonderful day. We just got a call from Africa from former Mayor C. Jack Ellis, and now we get a call from Miss AARP International.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do take a lot of pride in working with the AARP volunteers and all the communities. They're a great group.
Okay, well, when people reach 50 years old, they see that familiar card that comes in the mail inviting them and their spouse to become a member of AARP, American Association of Retired Persons
That was,
or
that
people.
was, well, it was persons, but let me tell you that now it's only the acronym. Several years ago, they changed that because all members of AARP are not retired.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's
So
right.
now it's only AARP, the acronym.
Well, I think people are familiar. They have good feelings about AARP. But first of all, tell us how you're affiliated with AARP, and then talk a little bit about what the organization does, how it benefits people.
I'll be glad to, but I'd be very remiss if I don't start off by thanking you and Senator Lucas for all that you do for the community. Very sincerely, you have been public servants for years, and you're a group you're a couple that really work to identify what the issues are, get feedback from the community, and work hard to make a difference. I just want to start off with that. I don't want to lose that.
Well, thank you. And I could say the same thing about you and Mr. AC, couldn't I?
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
I
you. But
could.
anyway, I wanted
But thank
to pass
you.
that on. I serve on the state executive board for AARP, and I also serve as the local AARP, one of the volunteers, the lead volunteers is what we call it. And that means that I work with a group of awesome volunteers. Before COVID hit, there were about 200 volunteers just in the Macon area. Probably about half of them were very active. Since COVID, obviously, with social isolation and other family and pressing issues, that number has changed a lot, but we've still got dedicated volunteers that we stay in touch with and work with organizations. What we do is to try to make Macon let me just say a couple of kind of background things. AARP has this national program that's called Age Friendly Community. And what it does is it concentrates on quality of life for residents in the community. So if you talk about housing, if you talk about outdoor spaces, if you talk about social interactions and all, just like what happens at the Lucas Recreation Senior Center down at the park. All of those things are things that we try to concentrate on working with community leaders. We have specific programs that we offer. And that's one of the things I want to make a plea for the community to keep us in mind. I know that people are socially distancing, but we have some great programs that we can do virtually on Zoom, on Facebook Live, or that we can also do, and we can still use the same old-fashioned way of PowerPoint and conference calls. So keep those in mind. We have several things that we have done last year when we were challenged with, because we're not doing any face-to-face presentations. So we have to work with organizations. And so I want to share just a couple of the things that we're doing that may trigger some interest from your listeners, Commissioner.
Okay.
One of the things is we adopt organizations or work toward causes. So, for example, there is a veterans transition home for homeless veterans and military families called Homeport Transition Center. So we contacted the leaders of that group on Harrison Road here in Macon, and they said what they needed were cleaning supplies. So for the last 3 months of the year, we didn't continue this starting in January because we started on other initiatives. We gathered cleaning supplies and took it up each month to that organization so they could use that to cleaning their facilities. There's a nursing home, the Pruitt Nursing Home, and one of the things they told us is that they have a lot of residents who don't have family members or anybody that's close to them. So we've done a nursing home, what we call a little cards. We send every little thoughtful cards that we send up. We probably send a couple of hundred. I think there are 225.
That is
that
so
we write
nice.
little notes. We started that. We write little, I'm thinking about you kind of notes and things. And a thing I want to mention real quickly that we could do Zoom or virtual training for seniors. So we've done it for a couple of churches. We've worked with the Macon Housing Authority on that. So if people are not able to communicate with their loved ones, if they're not able to understand, they've got smartphones or computers, we can work with smaller groups, probably about 10 would be about maximum at one time, and kind of teach them the basics of how do you turn it on? How do you hook up with a Zoom? What can you see? So those kinds of things. And and I got to mention the neighborhood watch, Judy Gordon. We worked so closely with her. So last year we did via Zoom. We did 2 kinds of training on our caregiving program because people are caring for everybody else and they're not taking care of themselves. So we have a caregiving program, and we have another one on fraud, how to protect yourself, how to identify if you've been, victimized by fraud, who do you report it to, and how to protect yourself.
Now that's a really good one there, and more folks need to be a part of that. Because we were featured, Macon, Georgia was featured on CNN as one of the hot spots for fraud.
Is that right?
Yes.
It's
last year.
Yeah, and what our seniors, they keep us in touch with some of the things that's going on so we can get the word out about some of the schemes. But people were calling, said they had a miracle cure for COVID. All you had to do was pay so much money, or they could make sure they got ahead of the list. Now they're talking about getting ahead of the list as far as the vaccines are concerned. Or if they wanted to get, when the stimulus checks first started, a lot of our older adults were getting calls about, we can get you some extra money if you give part of your Social Security check. So all of those things are, you know what, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yes.
So we work on all kinds of presentations, knowledge-based things. One of the things that we did, we are non-partisan, and so obviously we don't endorse any particular candidate. But what we did during election, we have more than 1 million members of AARP in Georgia. And what we did is we used a program called Hub Dollar, and we called our members to remind them about early voting and about the general election and the fact that it was important to cast their vote. They could do it in a safe way through mail, but or they could go in person if they were comfortable and all of that. And we called thousands of people in Georgia to remind them
Yeah.
of that obligation. And it was hopefully it was helpful.
Oh, it definitely was. I saw some of the pieces, some of the literature, some of the reminders, and those kinds of things. And y'all do a good bit of spots on radio and TV
Oh
as
yes,
well to alert people to the different programs that you have.
yes, and in fact, a lot of times we'll send out surveys electronically or paper asking people for feedback. Well, that's real important because what AARP nationally does is they summarize that to say these are the key issues to our members. We've got 40 million, approximately 40 million members, and so they try to make sure they're working on things that are important to them. One of the things that we're doing this year, and we did at the latter part of last year, we're concentrating on a program that's called Home Fit. You know, all of us, or most of us, want to stay in our homes and our communities as long as we can. But
Hmm.
as we're aging, you know, a lot of times we need modifications, the bathroom door, the doors to the entrance, the walkway, and all. Well, AARP has this program that tells you not only gives you some suggestions about home fit, but also goes into some estimates about what some of the costs might be and some of the things you
Oh.
need to consider. So we've been doing that. We have a great guy that leads that. In fact, we have a couple of people in Macon who support that training initiative. But the guy who, because we've been doing it virtually, it doesn't matter where the trainer is. And this guy used to own a construction company, and he does that. It's been very popular. So
Oh,
that's
I
another thing.
know. I
If
know.
somebody wants us to do a home fit training, just to think about modifications and what might you need, because now grandmother has moved in, or maybe you have a
Hmm.
younger child who has a disability and they can't get around in the house. That's another program that's very popular. So really, it's a very diverse organization that does advocacy, it does outreach. We love working with nonprofits. Our volunteers can't wait to when it's safe again and we can go back out and
Yes.
be at the tugma with the Pan African or
Yeah,
be
yeah. Your volunteers in those what was it red shirts?
dancers.
The red shirts. I mean, they. I know they've gone stir crazy because they were everywhere,
They
everywhere.
are. They are. And in fact, and you know, you can only do so much if you're doing
Hmm.
virtual and you're not able to touch and feel. We're a touch and feel kind of organization. I want
Yeah,
to pass out
yeah,
our little goodies and all. But we love this community. Macon has been so supportive. You've been so supportive. We partnered with most organizations here. In fact, we've been looking into one of the things that I need to mention are for the local volunteers for the local age-friendly initiative. Starting this year, I'm concentrating a little more on statewide items, and we have
hmm
two people who are leading the local volunteer effort, and that's Karen Middleton with the Macon Housing Authority. You know her;
hmm
she's been involved for
hmm
since 2012, and Greg Brown with planning and zoning.
Oh
And
yeah.
both of them are even more involved in getting. So when I mentioned Karen, I'll mention something that AARP is supporting is their Go Red program, where they concentrate on heart health and how to protect yourself, you know, for heart disease and all.
Right.
On February, let's see, I got February 5th, they're having a virtual program from 12 to 1 o'clock. So if any of your listeners are interested, and hopefully they are, they can call Karen at 752-5079. 752-5079. It's a free program. They're going to have experts from Navicent that's going to be talking about heart, how to keep your heart healthy, and if we're having problems, things you can do to make sure that we're protecting our health.
So there are a lot of things that people can be doing, even in these tough times that we're all trying to navigate through. And certainly AARP just provides all kinds of services. We also want to thank you and the others with AARP for your involvement and your work on the Pedestrian Safety Review Board, where we are working so hard to try. It just hurts us to our core when we hear of another pedestrian that's been hit or killed on our streets. And so AARP has been there from the beginning, working with us
Well,
on that
thank you,
particular
Commissioner.
initiative.
Yeah, we appreciate your leadership as our lead commissioner on that program. In fact, you're right, because we know that that safety walking or riding or whatever is so important as it relates to pedestrians. And we're pleased to say, I believe we were the first community in the state to adopt the governor's zero tolerance for
Right.
pedestrian deaths.
That's
And
right.
again, we appreciate our country, any contributions we as AARP can make,
Mm-hmm.
and our participation. And with some of these walking artists, I'll tell you something else that's a kudo to you, is that you have helped us to not only identify some safety issues and safety areas that needed more lighting, needed pavement, needed sidewalks, and you have helped to keep those before the commission and the funding group. So I'm hopeful. I know you all just got new committee assignments. Are you still our lead commissioner
We
for
don't have no committees.
Oh, you don't?
We have one big committee. That's another story for another
Uh,
day.
But I asked at our recent pedestrian safety committee, and Nancy Cleveland told us that that particular day there was going to be a discussion. And I've been looking, but I didn't see. And I thought, well, surely the commission.
We have one big committee.
uh,
Someone wanted to know your name, Rhonda Bird, who we are on Facebook Live, WDDO Live, and Rhonda Bird wants to know your name. Her name is Myrtle Habersham, and she's with AARP, and you're on the state level now, aren't you? You were local, but you're in a state position now, aren't you?
yeah, I'm called the AARP Georgia Ambassador for
Okay.
age-friendly communities. But I'm still a local volunteer leader, so
Uh-huh.
I'm still working with the local volunteers. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get Georgia designated as an age-friendly state. And
Yeah.
so we're working very hard. In fact, Friday I've got a presentation, a virtual presentation to the mayor of Milledgeville. Next week we have one with
Oh,
Dublin.
okay.
We've got
Good.
one with Plains, Georgia. So we're working all
Yeah.
over, because what we're hopeful is that as a state we will be concentrating. We've got probably about 15% of our population in Georgia is 65 or older.
Oh,
And if we're
yeah.
going to
There are a
have
lot
people
of
moving
us.
here, that's that's right.
A
If we're going to
lot
have
of
people
us.
moving here and staying here, and Macon is a leader in a lot of the initiatives. We had
Yeah.
a national conference in September, and Mayor Rickard and Rachel from Bike Walk Macon and Greg and all of the Greg Brown, they all participated to tell them about, no, we're not perfect, but we've got a lot of
Oh,
initiatives that are
yeah.
going on that are
Yeah.
supported by you and the other commissioners in the past. And hopefully we can keep that relationship going with our new mayor and the new commissioners and
Yeah,
all
I
of the
think
leaders.
he's interested in some of those same kinds of things. He's kind of hit the ground running, and so there are a number of issues that he's taken on, and I've been really pleased with the cleanup efforts and providing that warming center.
Oh, yeah.
I just think that responded to the needs of the community. And so anybody if it's a good project, I'm all for it. If it's a bad project, I'm not for it. So,
That's
and I think you're
exactly,
that same way. So we want
that's
to thank
exactly right.
you, Miss Myrtle Habersham,
Well,
for
thank you.
calling in to ask Elaine. Our viewers were one of our viewers on Facebook was asking for your name. So we've given them your name. And they are saying that they are just enjoying the information. They've just benefited from what you've shared. And one other thing that I know that AARP does is you give grants too. There,
Yeah.
I remember a grant that you provided to Macon Bibbs Parts and Rec for tell everybody about that.
Yes, well, we have two things. We have what we call challenge grants. They are national age-friendly grants, where, in fact, they're going to be announced again, like late February of this year, mid to late February. But these are grants that are related to improvements in the community, where you're helping to improve as relates to housing, transportation, outdoor spaces, social engagement, and they vary. This past year, we in Macon, Frankie's at
Frankie
hand.
Lewis.
Frankie Lewis got a $10,000 one. Bike Walk Macon had a 15,000 one. And so again, these are again grants that are help toward making the community safer and better for the residents. But in addition to that, AARP funds different events. So we've been a co-sponsor for the Tugman's Pan American event,
Mm-hmm.
Pan
Mm-hmm.
African event. We've been
Mm-hmm.
a co-sponsor for Cherry Blossom. We've been a co-sponsor for Macon Arts Alliance. We've worked with Habitat too. So if you have an initiative that with Boy Scouts, let me tell you about just one thing that's coming up with Boy Scouts. I
Okay.
know this is a quick, but we funded an initiative last year, and they're going to do it again this year. It's called financial literacy. It has to do
Oh
with
yeah.
teaching the Boy Scouts as well as their parents the importance of savings and some things that we need to be reminded of, and tips on how to save money so that you're
Yeah.
protected as you grow older. So those are
Oh,
programs.
those are
Don't
wonderful.
forget us. Don't forget us. And you can give the viewers my phone number, because I will
Okay.
get them. And that's 478
Okay.
338-0884. 0884. You can text me or you can call me, and
Okay.
I will get you connected. If it's not something I personally handle, I will get you connected with whomever in AARP that does. We want the community support. We love Macon Bibb, and we want to do our part to make it the best city in the U.S.
Yes, you certainly have shown your love for this community, because you were just a top dog in the Social Security Administration. You were on a national level, and then you retired and came on back to Macon and started working locally with AARP. And then from that, then they moved you on up to the state level as a one of their advocates there. And so it's just in you to do for the community. And I'm just honored to know you, and honored to know all the things that you have done for this community. And you don't always make a lot of noise about it, but I noticed that people recognize you for the things that you have done. I noticed last year there were a number of awards that you received for your work in the community. So, you like for people to say, that they like what you've done. And and anybody who says they don't like for folks to say you did good, they're just telling stories like we used to say when we were growing up.
Yeah, they're big. What's that old saying my mama used to say? Give me my flowers while I'm
That's
alive.
exactly
And,
right. I can't smell them when I'm gone. I sure can't. Thank you so much for
thank
calling
you.
in, and AARP. And we're going to give out your number again before the show is over, so that if anyone's interested, because with COVID and everything, there's a need. A lot of folks are looking for organizations that can provide information through technology. So we will certainly give out your number again before the end of the show. And thank you so much, and give our regards to your husband.
I would do that, and you do the same for Senator
I
Lucas. And
will.
y'all
I
be
will.
blessed. Okay?
All
Thanks for
right.
the opportunity. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, that was Myrtle Habersham, and her number is 478-338-0884. Okay, a busy phone today. Good afternoon, Ask Elaine.
Good afternoon. This is Gail Talbot Smith.
Reverend Dr. Gail Talbert Smith, it is an honor that you have called in to Ask Elaine. We want to, first of all, thank you for calling in. And secondly, we want to say that we express our deepest sympathy to you and all of your family in the loss of your mom and Beverly's mom, the late Dr. Betty Talbert, Betty Johnson Talbert. And we are glad that you have called, because we have some people who said that they would call and pay tribute. We're on Facebook Live, and some folks have already expressed their sympathy. We have Rhonda Bird, we have Edith Newsom, who are on, and others who are expressing their sympathy to you and your family. Here on the screen, you will see, if you're on Facebook Live, and y'all please join us there. We have a picture of Dr. Betty Talbert here, and she was just a wonderful person. Just a wonderful person. You know, I was supposed to go to work. I was at Springdale teaching second grade, and Dr. Talbot was at Alexander 2 at the time, and she had an opening, and I went over actually and interviewed with her, and I was scheduled to go to work for her, but there was a magnet school that was opening Hunt like 5 minutes from the house, so I decided to go to the magnet school. I don't regret that, but I do regret the fact that I never got to work with Dr. Talbot, but I've always admired her. She and a lot of other people admire her as well. And that spirit is still floating around here. Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Now, tell us some little tidbits about Dr. Talbot. Are there some things that you can tell us?
First of all, thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to be in your presence and to have the opportunity to be a part of anything that you are doing. And I need to say to you that the reason I admire you so is because of my mom. Having the opportunity to be with her, to grow up with her, and to be in the presence of someone who literally laid down her life for others.
Yes, she did.
Who did all she could to serve others and to make life better for others. I know the heart, I know the grit, I know the sacrifice, I know the frustrations. I know all of that goes into doing the work to make the lives of other people better. When I see you, I see that same quality.
Oh, I'm so flattered.
And that's why I admire you so. I pick up on that same heart for the community that she had. I see that in you. And one of the things that most people don't know about my mom is that she never aspired to be all that she was.
Oh.
She was, we moved to Nashville so that she could work and my dad would go to school. She was going to put him through seminary. And it was her boss at the National Baptist Publishing Company who said, "Oh no, you need to be in school as well." And he helped finance her education at Tennessee State. But we didn't go there for her to be in school. We went there for him. And then she became a teacher while we were in Nashville. When we moved back, she started working at Florence Burn Elementary School.
Mm-hmm.
She was excited about serving in the classroom, just like she had been in Nashville. And she became a reading specialist while at Burn. And she was excited about doing just that.
Yeah.
She loved it so much she could have retired doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was her principal who saw the leadership in her, who started her substituting in her place when she was out. And that's how her gifts as an administrator were discovered.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't seek to apply for that position as principal of Dursville. She was called and asked to apply because of what they saw in her.
Uh-huh.
And after working at Dursville, she didn't seek Alexander too. She was called by the Bibb County leadership and asked.
That's good to be called. Some people just go.
Right.
But she
didn't seek after these positions of prominence. It came to her because of the heart she had for serving other people.
She certainly had that. Certainly did. The graveside services for Dr. Betty Johnson Talbert will be Friday, January 29th, 2021, 2 p.m. at Macon Memorial Park on Mercer University Drive. Strict social distancing and masks are required. There is a drive-through visitation on tomorrow, the 28th, from 4:30 to 6:30 at the old Progressive Christian Academy site, which is located on Dr. Betty Talbert Way, right there at Riverside Drive. Dr. Talbert was the founder of Progressive Christian Academy and the former principal of Dursville and Alexander II elementary schools. Now, we have also renamed, there's a little park there right near the school site. And so the entire commission, it was a unanimous vote to change the name of the Wise Avenue Park to the Dr. Betty Talbert Park. And so they did that because they knew that Dr. Talbot was ill, was not in good health, and they wanted to do it while she was still with us. But the sign has been ordered, let everybody know, and just as soon as it's in, we will then get with the family and we will dedicate that park to her memory and have her name with the sign. And so we are very, very humbled by all that she did and have always admired her. We have some folks on Facebook Live on Visual Radio who are sending prayers. Jeanette Goff sends her prayers and condolences to the family. Edith Newsom says condolences to the family. And we have Rhonda Bird on. And there's some others that I know will be on, will leave messages, comments, expressing condolences. And there are many, those of you who wish to can go on the guest book on the Macon Telegraph and leave a message for the family, message of condolences to the family. I have a few. Someone says, Mrs. Talbert was my principal at Alexander II. She was such a special lady who showed compassion to me during a difficult time in my life. Heaven has gained a very special angel. And then another one writes, it is well. You completed your assignment to God's glory. You were the change. Enjoy your just reward. You are missed and loved. And one more, such an amazing lady, rest in peace. And it goes on and on. There are a number of other people who have posted these remembrances and condolences to the guest book on the Macon Telegraph. So if you wish to share with this family, then would you please go to the Macon Telegraph guest book and click on Dr. Talbert's picture there, the entry there, and then leave a special message for the family. You just don't know how uh, good it is, good it feels when you've lost someone, to go back and to read all of the kind things that people have said. Eloise Jefferson Hall says, our sincere condolences, the Jeffersons, Zellner, and Haynes families. My grandchildren got a wonderful Christian education. Awesome woman of God. And so these are the kinds of messages that you're getting on Facebook. You have any funny stories? Any Dr. Talbot funny stories?
I mean, there are so many. She was a very funny lady. She had a tremendous sense of humor. One of the things we cousins joke about quite a bit was my mom would always teach us little songs and little poems and that kind of thing. And she taught us this one song. The words said, I can tell by your knees you've been climbing them coconut trees. You're going to look like a monkey when you get old. And she would sing that so much that we picked it up. My sister Beverly and I and our two cousins were very close. So we would just be singing that song and singing that song. And one day we were at my cousin's house singing that song to the top of our lungs. And boy, when her sister heard us singing that, she was furious. She said,
funny.
Where y'all get that song from? And we were like, Mama, they were like, oh, Daddy taught us that song. She said, I knew it was my crazy sister teaching y'all something like that.
That's
but yeah,
funny.
we always had a lot of fun with her. She took us to concerts when we were kids. She was super mom. She did everything. She'd take us to camp. We traveled together. I mean, I can't think of anything that a mother would do that she didn't do, while at the same time preparing herself educationally and in all other areas to be the person the community knew her to be.
Yeah. Maddie Wigfall says, my condolences to the Talbert family. May God heal the family. So we're hearing from a lot of people who are regular listeners of Ask Elaine and who knew Dr. Talbert and who know her. I mean, still in the present, who know her and who idolize her and just think so highly of her. She was an example for a lot of those of us who were younger teachers in the school system. She was the standard for how you should carry yourself and techniques that you should use and how you deal with parents and families, especially when they're going through some challenges. So she's just our ideal, just our shero. Now you gonna tell us another funny? So I know you.
You caught me
other than the monkey the monkey song. Oh, while we're doing this, we want to express get well wishes to Apostle. We understand that he was slightly injured. And we Vertice Rozier, he's our Superman. Can't anything happen to him? Supposed to spring back. Anyway, we'll be checking in on him to make sure that he's that he's progressing. So we wanted to get that in before we ran out of time. Eloise Jefferson Hall says her works are evident everywhere. I especially remember those spring productions. Phenomenal. And Janice Darty says prayers for the Talbert family, that God will continue to bless you. And these are heartfelt condolences being expressed to you and all of the other members of the family. We've talked about Dr. Talbot and Progressive Christian Academy. One of my older grandsons attended Progressive for a couple of years. LJ from down in Miami, and I remember the productions, and everybody participated, and they were grand affairs, well attended. You didn't have to worry about parent participation or anything at Progressive, because if the children were there, then the parents were there to watch them and to enjoy what was going on. But Dr. Talbot would just beam at the productions, and all of the staff worked so very hard on it, and they were always just fantastic. Renee and Reverend and Renee Bumpus say a jewel of this community.
Wonderful.
A jewel
Thank you so
of
much.
this community. Mm-hmm.
And Reverend Bumpus will be officiating at service Friday.
Okay. Yes, Reverend Bumpus will be officiating. Janice Darty says, sending prayers to the Talbot family, that God will continue to give them strength in Jesus' name. People love Dr. Talbot, and usually you'd say if somebody's gone, you'd say loved, but I say love, as long as that person's spirit is there and their works are there, then it's still present tense. It's still present tense.
And her works will be here for generations.
Yes, they will.
Yes.
Anybody who thinks about education, they think of Dr. Betty Talbot, who started a school that became the standard for quality and for experiences for mostly Black children. And she proved, and those kids proved every day, that there's no difference in the abilities of children. You just have to have them in the right situation.
That's right.
And the right atmosphere, and children will achieve. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, whatever. Children will achieve in the right environment. And that is a lesson that all school systems need to adopt. And our children would do better. All right. Did you think of that other funny story?
I think one thing about my mom that most people who attended church knew about her, she was a shouter. She was very demonstrative at church. And she was the type, I was so embarrassed a lot of Sundays at church because it reached a point where Mom started wearing wigs. And when she would shout, she would not have those wigs on tight.
That's the first lesson of wig wearing.
Exactly.
Fix it up right. Fix it up tight.
She would not wear them tight. So
they kind of moved.
Oh my God.
Well, could you get to her before it moved?
The ushers tried, but sometimes they wouldn't put it back on right.
Quite right.
Sideways.
Oh my. Oh, that's funny. That is funny. But I'm sure that she just fixed it up and,
Oh yeah.
adjusted the clothes and then just went right on. She
Oh,
was
you
that
know she
kind
was
of lady.
very stylish.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yes.
Always well dressed, always
Mhm.
gorgeous.
Mhm.
Yeah. Her daughters have taken that on as well. Her daughters are always stylish and glittery and everything. Oh, our time is almost up. Gosh, this
Right.
time goes by so fast. We
Well, thank
want
you so
to
much for thinking of us.
thank you. Thank you so very much for calling in, and we will be there with you to help in paying tribute to the late Dr. Betty Johnson Talbert, who just enriched all of our lives. We are so much better in this community because she was here and her spirit stays here, is still here with us. So, our condolences to the family, and we'll see you on Friday. But she's never going to leave us because
That's
so many
right.
people loved her and her spirit is so strong.
Mhm.
So, y'all
Thank you
take
so much.
care.
All right.
All right.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right. Oh, our time, our time, our time. We want to salute the West Side neighbors for their cleanup efforts. And we also want to give you Myrtle Habersham's number again, 478-338-0884. That's the number for Myrtle Habersham with AARP. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank you for being there today. We want you to express to the Talbert family your condolences in the loss of this great lady from our community. And we've got some folks. Jeanette says, thanks for another informative show. We're always glad to be here on Wednesday. See you again next Wednesday for another edition of Ask
Connecting the
Elaine.
community through gospel. The new 980 AM WDDO Perry Macon.